With the transfer window just ending at the start of September, today we're going to be looking at every single signing Wrexham made over the course of the summer. We made 13 additions as we approach our first season back in the Championship for just over 40 years. There's plenty of signings we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be giving my view on all of those signings, whether I think they were good or bad signings, and what these players are going to bring to the squad over the course of the season. Before we get going into today's video, if you'd like to see more Wrexham AFC content, make sure to get down there and click the red subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Let's go as well for a big like target. Let's go for 800 likes. It's a big one. We might not hit it, but if you're watching this right now, get down there and click the like button. And without further ado, let's get talking first about the first signing. So starting off with Callum Doyle, £5 million we paid Manchester City for his services. We've seen 130 minutes of Callum Doyle in a Wrexham shirt so far, but those 130 minutes are enough to realise Doyle will play a significant role in any kind of success we see at Wrexham this season. We're of course looking at this. He's youthful but so experienced already at Championship level, making over 100 appearances for 3 different teams when he was on loan from Manchester City. Teams that have finished at the top end of the Championship table as well, so bringing that youthful but experienced injection into this squad I think was something that Phil Parkinson really liked the look of, and why obviously Phil Parkinson chased him so heavily in the transfer window. And it's something that I think we'll see very early on. Is he's still very young, but his experience and knowledge of this division is going to be really important for this Wrexham team. And I don't think it was ever going to be a question as to whether Callum Doyle would come into this Wrexham team and be on the bench for the first couple of games. It was always going to be him signing. I think he signed maybe like a day before our first game when he did sign, but the game after, he was going to come straight into that left centre-back spot and make it his own. And I don't think he'll be out of the team for the rest of the season unless it's an injury, because he's a really good player on the ball. He's a good passer, he's composed, he's knowledgeable in this division of course, and for the solid base fee that we did pay for Callum Doyle, I don't think there's any complaints, and there's next to no complaints regarding this signing, because I think he's going to be a key player for us and a good investment as time goes on. Talking next on Josh Windass, we got him on a free transfer, and to be honest, you cannot beat a free transfer, and especially a player of his proven goal scoring seasons in the Championship and his proven Championship quality of course at Sheffield Wednesday mainly. In the minutes he played before his injury, we're seeing a player in Josh Windass that he's going to offer a lot to this team, and as time goes on in a Wrexham shirt, he is going to be a key player for us. I think as well, you're just looking at his confidence going forward, you know, taking the ball on, having those shots on goal away at Southampton, hitting the bar. He's not afraid to have a pop shot, and he's not afraid to sort of take the attack by the scruff of his neck. And you know, the confidence I think is something that we're going to really need as time goes on this season for Wrexham. Like I said with Callum Doyle, if we want any kind of success, we need these Championship quality players into the squad, and we're looking at Josh Windass. He's confident, he's experienced at this level, he's proven himself so many times at this level, scoring double digits for Sheffield Wednesday. Once he's back with the team and once he's trained with all the new signings, I think he jumps straight back into that starting 11, and we'll see the best version of Josh Windass, and I think the best version that we could possibly ever see despite his time at Sheffield Wednesday. I think we can get another version out of him because he's playing in a much high quality squad, and I think as time goes on he's going to bed into this team really well, be that creative playmaker that I think he did show in the first couple of games that he did play before injury, and just prove to be a key player for us. So this is one that I'm very happy about. Libby Cacace is next. He signed for 2.16 million from Serie A side Empoli. This is a signing that I think definitely excited a lot of the Wrexham fans, of course, signing him from an overseas club. It's the first time we've seen this happen since I think Junior Intame back in 2013. I don't think you can really compare the two. One was on a free transfer, and obviously Junior Intame was recommended by Jocelyn Maibi, the old Wrexham goalkeeper, and if you know anything about Maibi, I don't think this signing was ever going to work, and it didn't work out in the end. But if you're looking at Cacace, I think we were excited because of the profile he did have, of course, being an all-whites international for New Zealand, having those good quality seasons, of course, for Wellington Phoenix, and then over in Italy for Empoli. It was going to be a good signing, and one that I think a lot of fans were excited about due to the price tag. And obviously we've seen a couple of his performances so far in a Wrexham shirt, and I really like the look of Libby Cacace. I like what he brings and the style of play that he does play, obviously in that left wing back role. Very attacking minded, loves to get that cross in, but he's also very solid defensively, and I think he will do a good job for us, obviously down that left hand side this season. And it's definitely what we did need to obviously rival James McLean on that left flank. McLean, yes, he's been a good option for us over the years. We've jumped up 2 seasons in the space of 2 years, and we needed cover for James McLean. So I think he's 36, 37 years old now. He's still a very good regular for Wrexham, and that's testament to him and the fitness and the work that he does put off the pitch. But if we're looking at Cacace, he's youthful. He's obviously going to add that injection of pace that I don't think think James McLean does have. And obviously just two different profiles in terms of age and obviously style of play, but we still need to be Libby Cacace to be very direct in that Wrexham team, not afraid to take on his man, put those crosses into the box, because we've seen James McLean, he does that. He's a very good quality crosser of the ball, given his assist last season and his assists so far this season in a Wrexham shirt. So Cacace needs to come into this team, and I do think he'll do a very good job, because like I said, we've seen glimpses of him going forward. Defensively, he's very solid, and I think obviously he's come back from injury now. He's pulled out of international duty for New Zealand. We needed him to get 5 or 6 games in the side, and I think he'll be a very good player for us, and I think he'll add so much more, and I think he'll give us an opportunity to give a more detailed review on him, because I think the potential's there for him to be one of our key players this season. Nathan Broadhead, £7.5 million. Now, it was a really good feeling, of course, to bring a player that obviously came through the ranks at Wrexham back home, and it's always good to see a former player return to back where it all started. But I think it's really important with Nathan Broadhead that we find the right role for him in this Wrexham team. We've seen at Ipswich Town over the years, he was mainly playing on that left wing and made a couple of cameos in a more central role. And if we know Wrexham, we don't play wingers, we play wing backs, and I can't see Nathan Broadhead anytime soon playing in that left wing back role. Parky has brought him in to either play striker or central attacking midfielder, and I think it's so important that we get the best out of Nathan Broadhead and we get him to develop into one of those positions, because A, it's a lot of money, B, the talent is clearly there for Nathan Broadhead. He's a Welsh international. He's played obviously a lot of times in the Premier League. He's done it in the Championship before, playing in a more wider role. So it's important that we get the best out of him. We get the best potential player out of Nathan Broadhead in that central attacking or striking role. And he's one of the most talented players that we have got in this Wrexham squad at the minute. He's returning home to where it all started. He's going to want to make an impact. Whether he'll be able to do that straight away in that more central role for us, we really don't know. But either way, it's important that we get him to obviously excel in whatever role he's playing in, because he needs to bed into this team and we need him performing week in, week out, because it's a lot of money and the talent is there for him to be the best player in this Wrexham squad. We've obviously seen glimpses of Nathan Broadhead as a player so far in this Wrexham team. We can see he's a very good technical player and loves to obviously take on his man and go forward. He's very tricky with the ball, a good ball carrier, and it's early days, but I'm so excited to see what he can produce over the course of the season, because yes, it's a lot of money, but I think it's a really good signing given the experience he's got at this level, the numbers he's produced and the quality of play we're bringing into this squad. So once he's fully fit and once he's got a couple of games under his belt for us and obviously developing and obviously getting to settle in with this team, I think he's going to be a really good addition to this squad. Moving on to another Welsh international, Kieffer Moore. By the time we're recording this, he's about to play Wales's fixture away in Astana in Kazakhstan. He signed for £2 million and it's been quite the start to the season for the Welsh target man. I think it's the start that all Wrexham Welsh fans wanted to see Kieffer Moore have, because we've seen his performances in a Wales shirt before. Very, very good, and to bring a player of his style of play in, I think we were always going to love him and always going to enjoy watching him play, and he was obviously attacking this international break with really, really good form in a Wrexham shirt. And if we're looking at Kieffer Moore, he's doing exactly what we signed him to do. Hold the ball up really well up front, do the dirty work, and ultimately score goals in this Wrexham team. 4 goals in his first 5 games, 12 shots he's got on goal in all competitions. So if the chances continue to be put on a plate for Kieffer Moore, he's only just going to continue to score goals in this Wrexham team. I think he's only going to consistently add over time to that number, and we're definitely expecting Kieffer Moore to hit double digits this season. Touch wood that nothing does happen. He's given us a couple of scares here and there with injuries. Like I said previously, it has been quite the start for him. 4 goals in his first 5 games, and there's been about 3 or 4 different times where, you know, he's been injured and we've thought, oh, this isn't good. But yeah, it's been quite the start, and I think as the season goes on, he's just going to get better and better for us. A third international now, we're going to be talking about Danny Ward. He signed on a free transfer, and we all know it at home watching this. There was so much talk when Danny Ward signed, and I don't think it was positively, of course, from other fans watching this. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say Danny Ward was the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. I've seen compilations of Leicester City. Football Twitter isn't really a nice place for footballers, but we've seen the compilations. He wasn't all too good at Leicester City, and I think that was because getting jumped straight into the first team in a Premier League match when he hadn't played for, you know, at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 months. And you could say that's his own fault not getting a move away, and you could say that, you know, the reasons why he's making these mistakes is because, you know, he decided to be a 3rd or 4th choice goalkeeper in the prime years of his career, and he's only at this age now, 32, when he's making these mistakes, and he should have been making these mistakes so early on in his career. But again, we cannot really fault Danny Ward too much, because I think his performances in a Wrexham shirt so far, given all the noise that was coming from the outside into the Wrexham camp about Danny Ward signing and his potential bad impact that he would have on the Wrexham squad, I think he's made some really good performances for us. Yes, there's been one or two mistakes where he's been beaten at his near post, and you could say there were shots where he could have got, but he's made 16 saves, which I think is the joint most in the Championship so far. He's had a very good start to the season, I think, in terms of obviously distribution-wise. I think his kicking upfield has been good at times. Yes, there's been a couple bad ones here and there, but I think he's getting up to Kieffer Moore really well, and his shot stopping as well, I think, has been good. And no matter what, Danny Ward is Wrexham through and through, and we're always going to back him. It would be horrific if, he was to run down to the Tech End before a match and he wouldn't get the rendition of his song or wouldn't get the applause of the Wrexham fans. We're always going to give him that, and I think that's only going to do him the world of good as time goes on and his career in a Wrexham shirt, whether it be for one season, whether it be for 2 seasons. We just need to get behind him, because I think there's a good goalkeeper in Danny Ward, as he's shown 16 saves this season. He just needs to get his confidence back, and I think he has done that in the first couple of games of the season. Of course, he kept a clean sheet away at Millwall, but it's really disappointing to see that he does require surgery on his elbow, I think it was. There's some ligament damage, so it's a really unfortunate time, and I think there'll be a lot of people watching at home thinking this is perfect for us because Arthur comes back into the squad. But I'm glad that Danny Ward is somewhere where the fans appreciate him and where obviously he feels like he can call it home, because he hasn't really had that at Leicester City, and you could probably say the last time he did feel that was his loan spell at Huddersfield Town. So it's good to obviously have a Wrexham born and bred player back home to the team, and let's hope he can make a speedy recovery and push for that number 1 spot again. George Thomason is up next. Now, given his injury situation and the large influx of signings over the transfer window, Thomason is probably a player that a lot of people have forgotten signed over the course of the transfer window, and I don't think that's no fault of his own. Of course, he's been injured for the large period. He hasn't made a feature in the matchday squad for Wrexham so far, and hopefully it won't be too long before we see George Thomason in and around the squad, back on the grass, and proving why Phil Parkinson has spent over £1 million on the Bolton Wanderers captain. I think Thomason, as a player, we've seen it, I think he needed to be in an environment where there's going to be good players around him to obviously propel him from here to here, because we saw a lot of Bolton Wanderers fans saying he was a good player, but if you're looking at getting the best potential out of him and getting the best version out of him, it was never going to happen at Bolton Wanderers, given obviously the situation he's in with the calibre of players that he's playing around. They said he's clearly a good player, but to reach his full potential, he's going to need to play in a squad where he's got better players around him. Phil Parkinson has obviously seen that. Thomason is only still 24 years old, so I think bringing him into this Wrexham squad where there's loads of Championship and Premier League proven players, they're going to get the best out of him in their training sessions, and hopefully we get to see a better version than we did at Bolton Wanderers. Ben Sheaf, £6.5 million, one of our deadline day signings, and I think this will turn out to be a very logical bit of business as time goes on. We're looking at him as a player in the Championship, well over 170 appearances. He knows this league inside out. He's got the experience in the FA Cup semi-final, playing against Manchester United, captaining Coventry City out into Wembley in front of 90,000 fans. This is a really good signing. I'm really happy with this. Coventry fans have been saying he's injury prone, but I think if we can keep him fully fit, he's going to add depth into that central defence midfield role. I think he's going to come into the team and obviously take that spot off Matty James, and he's just going to add so much quality and experience that, yes, we do already have, but to add that further, I think is going to be a massive bonus for us. We needed to recruit in that central defence midfield role, and we did that, and we got one of the best options possible late on in the transfer window. And like I said, Coventry fans have raised the concern of his injury history at the club, but if we can keep him injury free, I think he's going to be a top tier addition to this squad. Lewis O'Brien, £3 million, and I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what is my favourite signing we've made this transfer window? It's this man. For a bargain fee of £3 million, it's my favourite signing of the transfer window. I've really enjoyed watching Lewis O'Brien play in that central midfield role, and I'm really glad that Phil Parkinson chased him down for weeks on end, because he has showed so far that he is worth every single penny of that £3 million we spent on him. He seems to be running the midfield at the minute, and quite literally the grass that he covers on that pitch week in, week out for Wrexham, the blades of grass that he does cover, just consistently running. You wouldn't really get that because I think he's 5'6", 5'7", but he's a terrier in the midfield, constantly running, unease in the defence, and obviously we've seen his goal output so far. He's got 2 goals to his name, which I think is one of the best goal scoring seasons we've seen him have since his days at Huddersfield Town. So I think Parky has said to him that he wants to play him in that more advanced role, and he's got a bit more freedom going forward, and I think that's where the best version of Lewis O'Brien is going to come from. And I think as time goes on, his experience that he's got in the Championship already for Middlesbrough and of course Swansea City last season is going to be massive for us, and I'm just really happy with the signing of Lewis O'Brien. Back onto a deadline day signing, Dom Hyam for £2.7 million. One of the latest signings you will ever see happen at Wrexham Football Club, and I can see it being one that was well worth the stress for Phil Parkinson and the staff behind the scenes. We've brought in a 29-year-old defender who is still so experienced at Championship level. He's enjoyed a lot of success across the EFL in his career. Over 200 appearances he's played in the Championship for Coventry City and Blackburn Rovers. He's a leader on and off the pitch for us. Consistent performer week in, week out, like I said, in the Championship for Coventry and Blackburn. A player I'm really looking forward to see come into the squad and come into the defence and see the depth and the quality that he can bring to the back line at Wrexham. So in terms of late signings and signings that were done at the very last minute, you don't get any more last minute than Dom Hyam, and I think it will be well worth the pennies that we have paid for him. Issa Kabore up next. We signed him on a season-long loan from Premier League side Manchester City. There seems to be a lot of excitement on social media surrounding the signing of Kabore, and I think everyone has a right to be excited because he's a young right wing back who's obviously going to want to make a statement to the Wrexham fans very early on. He seems very happy to be at the club. He's obviously got that very attacking style of play down that right hand side, loves taking on his man, putting that cross into the box. And I think as time goes on and as he obviously plays more in the starting 11, his quality output is going to get better and better going forward. And I think he could possibly add a new dimension to the Wrexham squad that we possibly haven't seen down that right hand side, but possibly we don't already have. We don't know that yet because we haven't seen him play, but there's always a big chance of that. He's a player that's clearly got potential given his moves obviously to Werder Bremen, Benfica, Luton Town in the Premier League. And I think he needs to be in a team where he's playing consistently most weeks to get the best version out of him. Whether we'll get that at Wrexham and whether he'll be that starting right back every single week, we really don't know. But I think it's a good signing from Phil Parkinson and one that's just going to add further depth and quality down that right hand side. Conor Coady, £2 million. Now I think it would have been a priority of Phil Parkinson's to bring an experienced leader, especially into that back line for us, given obviously the youthful injection that we do have in that back line from last season in League One in Max Cleworth and Lewis Brunn. And I think given the performances that Conor Coady has put into the defence so far this season, he seems to be a good player, and I think we can see his Premier League quality and see why he has had multiple successful seasons at the highest level of English football. And I think his presence will be something that Max and Lewis Brunn have massively benefited off so far this season. And I think as well, looking at Conor Coady as a person, he seems so ambitious about the project. He seems that leader that we do need in the dressing room. He looks like he's going to be a good ambassador for the club, like I said, on and off the pitch, and a signing overall that I think makes a lot of sense and has been a really good start to the season for him. Finishing off, Ryan Hardie, £700,000. Ironically, the last signing of the video was the first one that we did make in the transfer window, and for £700,000, bringing a player like Ryan Hardie in who's got that Championship goals under his belt for, consistently 3 or 4 seasons, I think for the fee that we did pay for Hardie, I do kind of feel like this is a free hit for Wrexham this season because he scored goals in the past for Plymouth Argyle and he's been waiting for his chance in this Wrexham team, and I think he really did take that in the Carabao Cup. He scored possibly our goal of the season away at Preston, he started away at Millwall, and he's the type of striker and the type of profile of striker that you want in your matchday squad week in, week out, and a player that I think every squad needs in terms of his style of play and what he can offer to that front line. And I think if we're looking at Ryan Hardie, if he gets a couple of games back after the international break under his belt, I can see him producing the numbers here that he did at Plymouth Argyle for the past 3 or 4 seasons. So yeah, that is it for today's video. All 13 signings reviewed in this Wrexham transfer window. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who is the best signing that Wrexham have made over the course of the summer? It's been such a hectic summer and I cannot thank you enough for everyone that has tuned into the channel. I'd also love to know the best and the worst signing you think we've made. There's not really any misses in this transfer window for Wrexham, but as time goes on, I'm sure we'll see a couple of players that will really impress us and some that maybe weren't worth the money that we did pay for them. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in another video. Take care guys, up the town.